Hey, this is Scott. Glad to meet you again here for the next installment of my videos when I talk about whatever it is I'm going to talk about. In this particular episode, I'm going to talk about all the books that I have of one of my favorite authors, Stephen King. Now, I own quite a few of his books, and I'll be honest, I haven't read them all. I think I'm going to go ahead and start with, I think, a few of my paperbacks that I have scattered around here surrounding me. I have almost a mountain of books surrounding me right now on the floor here, so I can show you all without having to continuously get up and have a shaky camera and, you know, look at the generally messy environment in which I live. We are going to start out with Gerald's Game, which is a book I have yet to read. But granted, I have very little chance I'm going to read this one because, number one, I can't exactly say I'm, all that thrilled about the idea of what Gerald's Game is about based on what I've heard about it. And the fact that I have so many other books that I'm thinking about reading anyway. But, and this is probably on my low list of books that I want to be reading from King. So anyway, I have that. Next, another low-end book that I probably not going to really care about is The Kingdom of Fear, The World of Stephen King, where it says that it has 17 essays on the master of horror by prominent writers, critics, and filmmakers. Now, that could be interesting. I am not that thrilled with reading a book on essays. Another one, boy, we're gonna have a threefer here. Another one that I have not read and that I'm not sure I really care about is Different Seasons. It looks like it's one of the shorts. Looks like it's one of his short story books. Again, not on my top list of King books to read, but what are you gonna do, right? Now, one of my other books that I actually read partially through was Nightmares and Dreamscapes. And I remember first seeing the miniseries that was created because of this particular book with the same namesake. I just remember seeing it, and some of the stories on there that they had I thought were pretty interesting. So I ended up getting this for, I think it was Christmas. So, yeah. Not a bad book from probably not quite half of what I read of it. Now another one I thought, one of the newer books probably in the last 5 or so years, I'd have to look up the date on this again, but Cell. I think it was another interesting book. It was one of his more interesting books to read through, but for some reason it's just not the same as reading some of his older books, because I think I've always enjoyed reading the books where it has to do with, like, the 50s and 60s and 70s when it comes to the King books, because some of this new stuff that actually deals with cell phones, I don't know why this newer stuff seems more out of place to me. So even though the story itself was good, it was hard for me to enjoy it as much as I probably would have if I read something like, The Stand or something like that where it's older, or even Carrie. Another one of my not really sure if I care list or not, but Dolores Claiborne. Yeah, not much I can really say about that book. I'm not all that excited about ever wanting to read it. Oh, speaking of Carrie, I got that. I thought this was a really good book, considering it was his first published work. You guys hear about the new, or the newest Carrie movie that they're coming out with again? I mean, they've already made remakes and sequels already, previously. So I don't understand why they have to make yet another Carrie iteration. That's, to me, kind of silly. And then one of the other ones that I actually really enjoyed reading was one of his books where he wrote as Richard Bachman, Thinner. it was actually a pretty interesting pie, or pretty interesting pie. But anyway, then I have The Dead Zone. Yeah, I haven't read this one, but I would not mind checking it out because it's one of his older works. I would much rather do it that way. And now this one I don't. This is one of the other ones I really don't care about. But the Bagman books, if I can see that here, 4 early novels by Stephen King. I'm really that thrilled about that. Ooh, now this was one of my favorite books from him. The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. Now I know what I said about having one of the newer books out there, not really caring for them as much, but well, you know what? I have the right to like whatever it is I want to like. Yeah, really good book. I remember reading this thing back. Oh, jeez, man, that was back when I was going to Mount Hood. That was the college I was going to at the time. So that had to have been like in 1997, 1998, and I remember going to my classes, doing my thing, and then during my free time, I would go to the library. One of the things I'd do is head down to the library, crack this bad boy open, and read this. Really fun book, really good. Now a double book deal here that I got is The Talisman and Black House. Now I really enjoyed reading The Talisman. That was a good book. But Black House, not so much. I really didn't care for that much. I think the biggest thing I hated was how the book was written. Now this book I can remember reading many moons ago, back when I was in middle school. But Cujo, bad doggy. He was a bad, evil puppy. I have The Regulators, written under the pen name of Richard Bachman. Yeah, still haven't read this one. Oh man, one of my favorite books ever, The Stand. I think this has got to be one of my favorite books ever. But the only downside with this particular copy is that it's not the unabridged version. And a hardcover copy of Pet Sematary. I don't know if you can see that. Pet Sematary. Again, one of the books I can remember a long time ago reading through. Oh man, good memories with this book. Really entertaining. Next, one that I really would like to start, that I tried starting a couple times but failed to really get into, mainly because I have so many other books and whatnot to read through, is Desperation. Another one I kind of would like to do more reading on. Then Skeleton Crew. Yeah. Next, another oldie that I read probably a good 10 or 15 years ago, perhaps. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly now. But Dreamcatcher. Yeah. Another crazy book. I'll always remember Shitweasels. Another book, Hearts in Atlantis. Even though I have not read this copy of it, I did read a paperback version. I mean, there are actually several of these hardback ones that I read, but in just different versions. I just, decided not to mention that. But yeah, it was this one was a little tough for me to get through. I think the first half of it was entertaining, but then like the latter half of it or whatever started kind of for me a little bit. Oh, almost fell over here. Next we have another classic. Still have yet to read it. This is going to be shocking, for any King fan, but whatever. This is one heavy book, man. Then, okay, we're starting to close in here a little bit. Another super old but classic, Firestarter. Haven't read this one, but every time I see this book, I always think of Drew Barrymore as the lead for the movie adaptation of this book. And of course, got Misery, Now, what an interesting picture on the back, huh? I'm Stephen King. Please don't sue me, Stephen King, for making fun of you. I've never read this novel, but I did watch. I did see the movie version, and yeah, interesting movie. You know, oh, and The Shining, baby. Yeah, another one I remember reading. I must have been back in high school when I read this book. Yeah, another good one. Another book that I read, which I thought was fairly entertaining, was 4 Past Midnight. Yeah. Another interesting, I think out of all the collection books of stories that he's written, like this and different seasons and whatever the hell else there were, this is the only one I actually got through all the way. It was honestly fairly entertaining to read through. Then we have another old classic favorite, Needful Things. I remember reading this bad boy back in high school again. Then we have Rose Matter, another book that takes place in the Dark Tower timeline, I suppose you could say, or should I say the universe of that story. Another interesting book. Wasn't too bad. Not too bad at all. And then finally we got the last full collection here. Well, not quite full collection, but full enough, I guess, for me, was the Dark Tower books themselves. So, of course, kind of going in order, got that paperback of the Dark Tower, and then a really, really crappy version of the Drawing of the Three. Heavy reading. The Wastelands, yeah. Wizard and Glass, Song of Susanna. What's it here? Which one? Yeah, and then we have The Wolves of Kala, and then finally the Dark Tower itself. That's pretty much my whole Stephen King collection, unless I hopefully didn't miss anything in my bookcase. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close this video off now, and I will see y'all later. Bye.